Am I the asshole for refusing to move my husband's service dog out of the house because my niece is uncomfortable? I'm gonna be quick. My husband is disabled. Won't expand on that for privacy. We got him a service dog 4 months ago to help him on a daily basis. My brother and his family lost their home and asked to move in with us for a few weeks till they find another place to stay. Thing is, my niece, 14, started complaining about the service dog making her uncomfortable. It's strange, no allergies, no nothing, but she's just uncomfortable. She told my brother and he asked if I could move the dog. I said absolutely not. This dog is literally as helpful as a human being when it comes to people with disabilities, and he's incredibly smart, and more importantly, he minds his own business and never bothers my niece, but she's just uncomfortable with him for some reason. My brother and his wife started begging, saying it's temporary, but I refused. They said that my husband doesn't really need the dog much as of now since he's home most of the time, yet I still refused. They tried talking to my husband directly, but I shut that down immediately. My brother's wife started an argument with me right after my brother went to work, and she started yelling about how I value a dog over my niece and her comfort. I said it wasn't just the dog, but it's my husband who needs him. My brother came home and we kept arguing. He said that I was being unsupportive and cruel to my niece who's already been through enough. My husband got involved and asked me to take him to his father's house with the dog, but I said no, not after what his dad said to him, and that him and the dog are staying. My brother and his wife are in the guest's room sulking hard while my niece is ignoring me. Meanwhile, my husband is sitting in the kitchen now trying to convince me to let him go stay with his dad's to keep the peace with my brother. This man, my husband, is like this all the time. Always willing to do what others want just to keep the peace. You can literally cuss him out and he'll apologize to you like it was his fault. He thinks he owes people for accepting him as a disabled man, which is sad. And it's true, he's home most of the time, but he still needs his service dog throughout the day. AmITheAhole for refusing to move the dog temporarily? My niece is upset with me. Not the asshole. You're a good partner, and don't let your husband go stay with his father. Tell your brother and Sil that if their family is uncomfortable by the dog, a medicinal necessity for your disabled husband, they should find other living accommodations. Beggars can't be choosers. The reason I refused to let my husband go stay with his dad is because of what he said to him the last he was there. He basically called him useless and a failure. Also told him he was good for nothing because he couldn't get Mr. pregnant, but that's an infertility issue we've been dealing with for years. It's too late now to have kids, me 34, him 37, but we still do not appreciate these type of comments. From his dad of all people. It's sad. Original poster, I'm sorry to hear that. Keep advocating for your husband. Also, you are not too old to have kids. 34 is not old at all. I was 37 with the first child and 39 for the second. Never too late, and keep loving and protecting your hubby. My aunt had fertility issues for years and had her first non-IVF pregnancy in her 40s. She genuinely thought she had menopause until her doctor confirmed she was pregnant. Not the asshole. For your husband it is a need. For your niece it is a want. Need triumphs over want. Your brother and his family are being ungrateful for your allowing them to live there while they find other accommodations. Perhaps they should now try harder so as to get out and make their daughter less uncomfortable. Especially with a vague statement like, "I'm uncomfortable." If there's an actual issue, that may be one thing. But something that just seems to boil down to, "I don't like the dog," doesn't get consideration. Edit. To be clear, actual issue, and a reasonable accommodation, might mean something like putting a dog gate in front of the brother's bedroom, since the dog doesn't need to be in there. The dog stays with the husband. Period. Greater than especially with a vague statement like, "I'm uncomfortable." Sounds like a you problem, honey. Don't temporarily move your dog. Permanently move your brother and his family. They can find somewhere their daughter will feel comfortable. Not the asshole. Edit. Thanks for the award. Edit 2 awards. Edit 3. Permanently move them. Can you please take his wheelchair away? It makes me uncomfortable. It's not like he goes anywhere anyway. Can you please take his hearing aids away? They make me uncomfortable. It's not like he goes anywhere anyway. Can you please take his crutches, glasses, cane away? It makes me uncomfortable. It's not like he's going anywhere anyway. Not the asshole. How do people like this exist in the world with so little understanding of the functioning of their fellow human beings? Question mark. This should be at the top. This dog is a non-negotiable. Sorry your parents suck, niece, but your whole family needs to grow up. Edit. Add commas around niece. Not the asshole. Your brother and his family can make other living arrangements. They are incredibly presumptive to think you're going to move your dog, who is also a trained service animal. What gave them the impression they have any authority? Where do they get off? Your niece needs to stay in her lane, by the way. She needs to realize people do not have to put themselves out to appease her. Your husband needs to defend himself and not be a doormat. It's his home. The fact your brother was going to have your husband intervene goes to show your brother has no respect for your husband, and knows your husband will cave to his request. That being said, your husband absolutely should not move to appease ungracious houseguests, who have already overstayed their welcome. Tell your brother and his family they have until the end of the week to find another living arrangement. The husband needs therapy to stop being the person who'd apologize for existing if he'd think it would help. I'm in a wheelchair. This was in the training manual. I always apologize for everything too. Sorry if my comment offends anyone. Not the asshole. Firmly not the asshole. Service dogs are not pets, they are working members of society with a damn important job to do. Even if he was just a pet, I advocate the pet lives here, you're just a guest, so my verdict remains either way. Your husband shouldn't be made to feel unwelcome in his own home. The dog stays because your husband stays. Unfortunately, your family just needs to get over themselves. Seriously, it's like asking someone not to use a medical device. I'm not going to ask someone to not use their cane or CPAP machine. This is no different emo. Protect your husband and his precious pup. Not the asshole. This isn't working out and I don't appreciate the pressure and turmoil you have put our family and home under, especially since we are helping you. I understand that niece is uncomfortable and you find the offered living arrangements unacceptable. I'll expect you to be out within the week, and any family members who call or criticize can be the first to offer their homes to you, because this one is no longer available. Yep, time for the choosing beggars to move out. Not gonna work to stay the entire expected duration. Sorry. Your brother and his family are incredibly entitled after you gave them a place to live. They don't care about the dog or your husband. Keep the dog and husband at your house, have your bro and his fam find somewhere else. If you let them stay, they will only make you and your husband's lives difficult. Not the asshole. This. Give your brother and his family a move-out date. Tell them that the dog is making them uncomfortable, then clearly they do not need a place to live that badly, so they need to be out by X date. Then, hold them to it. Not the asshole. A service dog is living medical equipment. Would your brother ask someone to remove an oxygen tank from the home because it made them uncomfortable? This is the exact same ask. Your dog provides a vital service to your husband, without which his life would be at risk or severely limited. That trumps uncomfortable in any situation, but especially his own home. Not the asshole, but if you allow these people to abuse your husband, then you would be. You need to have a meeting with your brother, Sil and niece. It is your home. They are guests because they lost their home and you and your husband allowed them to live with you. You will not tolerate any more discussion about the dog. Period. End of discussion. Not the asshole. It's your brother's problem to solve, and not make that solution your issue. If his daughter is uncomfortable with the free accommodations provided by her aunt, then he can find another place for live. He absolutely does not get to impose any further on your hospitality. And that's what you tell them. You try to help, but it's not up to their standards, so you completely understand that they will be leaving at their earliest possible opportunity, and in the meantime, maybe Miss doesn't make the rules at your house can go live with her grandparents or something, until he figures out where they're going. And do they need help packing? The fucking cheek of some freeloaders. My guess is 14-year-old is irked that the dog is doing their job instead of acting like a dog for her to play with. I suspect she'll retaliate by, accidentally, letting the dog out or something. I highly recommend casually mentioning that the dog is worth X thousands of dollars due to training and that he's got a microchip and such, and that it would count as grand theft plus abuse of someone disabled if something should happen to the dog. And that you will absolutely put anyone who damages his dog in jail for it. They are going to retaliate. Get them out ASAP. Not the asshole. Why can't they go stay with someone else? If the niece is so uncomfortable, why don't they go move in with your father-in-law? Not the asshole. Tell your brother he is confusing you with a hotel. You are doing him and his family a kindness that you don't have to do. In light of your kindness, he should extend the same kindness to your husband, whose home they are staying in, and not insist your husband move out. All this because a teenager feels uncomfortable? Maybe she would be more comfortable staying with other family or friends? You have done enough. Guests do not kick the homeowners out of their own homes. Not the asshole. This isn't some hyper or aggressive puppy. This is a service animal. The The teen needs to understand that being uncomfortable does not mean everyone bends to your feelings. I'm sure sleeping on the street or a hotel would be much more uncomfortable. Not the asshole. This is a service dog. The dog is trained and doesn't bother the niece. She has no allergies, so the dog doesn't have to be removed. If your brother and Sil are upset by the service dog, they can live somewhere else. Beggars can't be choosers. Not the asshole. Move the niece. Keep the dog. The entitlement of these people is flabbergasting. Not the asshole. Their request is unreasonable, particularly as they refuse to elaborate as to what your niece finds uncomfortable about the service dog and so do not give you any opportunity to soothe their anxiety except by doing something unacceptable. Not the asshole. Your brother's family lost their home. They knew you had a dog before they asked to stay. If they don't like the dog because it makes your niece uncomfortable, they can find some place else to stay. Absolutely not the asshole. Your brother and his family sound like they are used to always getting their way, and probably bullying until they do. They can't handle being stood up to. Tell them. 1. The dog stays, no ifs, ands, or buts. 2. If they don't like it, they are free to go find other accommodations. End of conversation. There will be no more discussion on this topic. Not the asshole. Your niece and brother need to understand you are doing them a favor by letting them stay in your house, and they will have to get over any feelings of being uncomfortable around a service animal that is a necessity for your husband.